this week, I'll try to be a little bit better than I was last week. And I need your hand support as always. All right, ready on the clock. In a village just outside of Athens, there was a shepherd who lived with his 2 sons. Now the shepherd's son, the oldest son, was a very wise fellow. He was brilliant indeed. In school, he told the best stories, and he computed the most complex computations. Everyone in town realized what an amazing son this was. And the teacher decided, you know what, I will go to the village, and I'll talk with that dad and try to persuade him to come and send his son to Athens to study and become a great man. So, he goes into the village, talks with the shepherd, says, you have such a wise son. I have never met such a clever boy before. And he says to this, yeah, he's a smart son. And he said, why don't you send him into Athens to become a great man and study under some of the greats? And he said, well, I'm about to retire. See, I'm a shepherd. When I'm out in the fields, I have to go and take care of my sheep. I'm getting old, and it's hard to go out in the cold. And the teacher wouldn't be persuaded that easy. He said, well, you have a younger son. He possesses all the fine qualities of a shepherd as well, but he isn't as wise as your brother. So why not send your brother over to Athens and have your oldest son into Athens, and have the youngest son go and take care of the sheep? So he said, so you think that it doesn't take a wise man to do shepherd's work? Well, let me tell you, you have to be sly. You have to know how to sense the wolf when it's in the distance, before it gets there and attacks the sheep. Then you have to be able to take the club and beat him away. He said, you're right. You're right. But your youngest son possesses all those. Your oldest son will just sit there and he'll daydream and he'll think because he's too smart. He's not going to be looking out for the sheep. So the oldest man, the shepherd had to agree at that and said, you know what, you're right. All right, I'll send my son to go study in Athens, and the youngest son will take care of the sheep. So the day came, the sun came up to go into the Athens, and everyone was saying goodbye. And the young son was saying, I want to go in Athens too and have fun like my brother. But his brother replied, no, it's not going to be fun. I'm going to be studying the whole time I'm there. It's not going to be all fun and games. I'm going to go become a great man. And then the younger brother said, I want to go in Athens and become a great man too. And again the brother replied, you know what? Just take care of our shepherd's flock and you will be a great man. Make him proud. At this, the boy was appeased, for the older boy was a very clever boy indeed. He went off, he clambered on his cart, and got out of there. Now as the weeks went by, the winter drawed nigh, and it got colder and colder, and the man spent less time in the flocks and more time around the house. And the boy likewise spent more time out in the steep hillside with the dumb sheep, just warming his hands by the fire, trying to keep warm. He was doing good at first, very passionate in his job. But after a while it grew boring, and he thought, look at me. I have nothing to do. I'm sitting here huddled over this fire, surrounded by these dumb sheep. I almost wish a wolf would come. Something that could brighten my day, something that would give me something to be excited about. And the wolf didn't come though. More days went on, and he began to get a little bit, let's say, resentful. He thought of his older brother who was out in Athens having a great time. Meanwhile, he was stuck here with the dumb sheep. He began to play tricks on his own mind. He would walk around and he would see people in the distance laughing and having fun. Think, I know what they're doing. They're probably saying, look at that dumb shepherd. He's stuck out there watching the sheep while his brother was so smart he got to go out to Athens and study. And he said one day, you know what? I'm going to get them back for that. I'm going to give them a scare that they'll never forget. So that night, he got up on top of the village side, surrounded by the sheep, and it was calm. And in the distance, he saw all the lights start to go out at night. He saw all the people go into their comfortable, warm beds. And then he cupped his hands around his mouth and yelled as loud as he could, "Woof! Woof!" And they all jumped up out of bed. And they all ran up and and tripping as they ran up the hill, and he hid behind a tree and watched, and the sheep were scattered, running about looking for the wolf. Of course, there was no wolf within miles, nothing to be worried about. He got up to the top, and he popped out of the tree and said, "Ah, you guys are safe. I have defended you and the sheep from the wolf. There was a giant wolf here, and I scared him away." And the people were amazed, and one of the villagers said, "Ah, you are such a wise and valiant warrior. We have no need to fear for our lives or our sheep's lives with you." And they went back down into their beds and slept. And he thought to himself, "Ah, what a silly bunch of people." And he laughed and he cried. He was just so pleased in himself for pulling that fast one over on the crowd. Now, a couple days later, he was being so pleased in himself, he repeated it again. And a couple days later, yet again. And the people grew resentful, climbing up this hill and tripping in the dark, trying to help protect him from a wolf that never seemed to be there. And they were talking about him in the tavern. They said, "Hey, why is it that we never see wolf tracks on the side of these hills? Why is it that this little boy is defending against a wolf that grows larger and larger with each story? I think if he's as valiant as he says he is, he can take care of himself." And they all resolved that next time he cried wolf, they would turn over in their beds at night, catch some Z's. So, a couple nights later, the boy had actually tired of his own games. He was sitting there bored once again, thinking, "What can I do? What can I do?" And then everything grew eerily quiet. The sheep got still. And he heard a noise in the bush. He thought, "Ah, those villagers are playing a trick on me. How dare they?" And he picked up his lantern and walked over to the bushes. And still as a stone, he stuck his stick through the bushes to take a look. He didn't see anything. But then, two fire red eyes in the side with sharp teeth, the sharpest teeth you've ever seen, and the biggest wolf came crawling right at him. And he ran back and hid in the sheep flock. And he started trying to cry, but he couldn't even muster up a noise because his mouth was dry from fear. And in one blood-curdling scream, he yelled, "Wolf!" And the people got up in their beds. And they realized it was the boy again, crying wolf. And they said, we'll let him cry all night long if he wants." And they just rolled back over and went to sleep. Well, in the morning, when they woke up, they learned that indeed there had been a wolf there that night. Yes, 2 of the plumpest sheep were missing, along with the young shepherd, and he was never to be seen again. The wolf had indeed had a mighty fine meal that evening.